So welcome everyone to our Organizing for Transformation. Are you waving at Garrett?
I'm waving at everybody.
No, you waving at everybody.
Hey, what's up, guys?
No, what's up, everybody? This is our Organizing for Transformation webcast, and we have an awesome special guest today. We have Gerrit Bult, founder of Bult for Life, and you guys, he has a very successful podcast running. You may have seen his name, heard about him. I know we're streaming live on Demetrius's Facebook wall, so you guys probably maybe know. So a lot of you know Gerrit, and we are. Oh, Beth Panoff likes our video. Hi, Beth.
Hey.
Hi, everybody. Awesome. So. Yeah. So Gerrit, to let you know who you're talking to, of course you're talking to our, Demetrius's Facebook fans and DFIT people, but also Productive Environment Institute, which is my company, and Barbara Hemphill, who's on the call. She's the founder of Productive Environment Institute. And we have a network of people at productiveenvironmentnetwork.com. And everybody on that network is somehow related to organizing, productivity, systems, transformation. They all either are experts in helping other people get organized so that they can accomplish their work and enjoy their life, or they are the people who want to learn how to be organized and productive so they can accomplish their work and enjoy their lives. That's the whole goal.
Hey, Jason Morgan.
Hey, Jason. Jason's on. Jeannie's on, too.
Hey.
Okay, and just so you guys know that are on Facebook, Jeannie Fitzpatrick is watching. She's going to be monitoring the comments there. So, Jeannie, let us know if anybody has any questions or anything, because we're watching on Zoom as well as on Facebook. So, anyway, we are super excited to have Gerrit here with us. And just a real quick introduction, Demetrius, for our network of people that maybe not everybody knows you yet on Productive Environment Network. Want to do a quick intro?
I'm Demetrius Ferry. You guys probably see me on the PEI network. I'm one of Barbara Hemphill and Andrew's brainchild. I studied up under these guys. I had the organization right, but I didn't have the words right, the training, and so they put all my pieces together, and that's how DFIT evolved through systems and the 5 steps.
That's right. And you can actually go to, we just updated dfittransformation.com, so you can read about Demetrius's journey coming through Productive Environment Institute and how DFIT was born, actually. So take a look at that as well. So, Gerrit, thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah. I'm so excited. It's just like a continuation of our friendship,
Exactly. How many years has it been now? It's been a little while.
About 4 since we've moved down to the Wilmington area. Yeah.
That's right. So why don't you tell everybody a little about yourself, kind of about yourself now, and then let's take them back to the story, kind of your story of transformation. What was life like before? What happened? And where are you now in that? There's a long journey there, so let's hear about it.
So back in my early 20s, I was a professional wrestler, and that's not the healthiest sport entertainment to be in, and I kind of transitioned from that into powerlifting, and I competed in, to date, 34 powerlifting competitions, and I absolutely loved the sport. But 15 years ago, I was competing in a small local competition, and the collar that holds the weight on came off while I was doing a heavy deadlift. And the doctor said I probably had a fracture in that vertebrae from when I was wrestling, and it broke the vertebrae and crushed the disc. And when that happened, I actually couldn't move my right foot. And that was kind of the beginning of my journey in chronic pain and surgeries and total transformation of my life. I was this, really, I thought invincible, I felt invincible, and then I wasn't. And that was a huge, huge change. The doctors bolted me back together. I had a spinal fusion, a lot of hardware. 4 years, I was still able to compete somewhat. 4 years in, the hardware started causing problems, had to have that out. That surgery went horribly, horribly wrong. They broke 2 of the bolts, they tore scar tissue, and that put me in intensive care for 8 days with a drain in my spine, which I have a lot of permanent nerve damage left from that. Recovered from that, went back into personal training full time. I met my wonderful wife, Beth, around that time, and she was great through that surgery. We moved up to the East Coast. I worked at a couple of really great personal training studios up in Greenwich, Connecticut, and Ryan, New York. But slowly but surely, things were getting worse and worse, you know, and the nerve damage was worse and worse. And that led to more procedures, and that led to more surgeries. So what brought us down to the area here and to meet you guys is that my wife and I got pregnant. We had our son, Jake, who's 6 years old now. And we knew that I was able to work less and less, and we knew I was going to have more surgeries, and we needed to be closer to family. So my wonderful in-laws are down in Southport. They're watching Jake right now, thank God, for family. And that brought us down here, and it's been a great move. To date, I've had 7 back surgeries, 3 spinal fusions, and I have a spinal cord stimulator implanted in my body that helps with some of the pain. It has been a complete transformation from where I was. You know, at the low point of this, it's having to actually, you know, uproot our lives, not being able to work, having a son that I can barely take care of, to today, you know, finding ways to learn and live and thrive within the limitations that I have, you know. And the thing that helped me with that so much is I heard this Navy SEAL, he gave this great talk, and he said, one of the first things we learn as Navy SEALs is that we all have limitations, and we find them. Because if we find them, we know we can operate to our maximum capability within those limitations, you know. So that was like, it gave me a new insight. You know, it's like everybody has limitations. Mine have just changed. I'm not where I was. I'm here. This is what I have to work with. What am I going to do with it, you know? And, I mean, I'm so glad to meet you guys through the gym, and you guys have been wonderful in hosting our chronic pain support group that we had here through the American Chronic Pain Association, and you guys have always been so supportive, and you've been supportive of the Bult for Life podcast that we have now, where we do things like you guys do. We try to help people. We give them the information and hopefully the inspiration to help them to live a full life and thrive with chronic pain.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's having, you know, Barbara Hemphill's 5-step productive environment process, which is what Demetrius built DFIT with. That framework starts with having a vision. So, you know, knowing what you want to accomplish and then gathering the resources. You know, step 2 is actually identify your obstacles, and you had quite a few obstacles to overcome.
Yeah.
And I can imagine with you working with so many people in chronic pain, that you know, do you hear people that have just given up? I mean, what is the general attitude with people that you've worked with?
It's so tough, you know, and you guys know from, you guys were awesome in offering up DFIT so that we could have our chronic pain, support group. That really meant a lot to us. But the problem is, you know, try getting any 3 people together at the same place at the same time, and then try getting people with chronic pain together at the same place and the same times. And, it was really a challenge. And the more I started looking on social media, the more I started looking at other support groups, which I did not find that many. They were so negative. There was so much about the problem and so little about the solution. And those are the things you see over and over with chronic pain. You know, it's something that continues and doesn't stop. And it's a complete life-changing event. And unless people, you know, put some steps in place to make that change, you know, we just see them being stuck round and around again. And usually that loop keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it encompasses more and more problems.
Okay. Hold that note. I want to go back before you had surgery, your successful surgery that you just went through. Let's go back 2 years. I'm seeing Gerrit at the gym. Let's go back. It's the first thing in the morning, and Gerrit wakes up and you're in pain.
Yes.
You have to get Jake to school, and you're going to go work out, and you're laying in bed. What's going through your mind to get you out of that bed?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, that's real. That brings it back to where I was. And, you know, the only way that I could do it, and I think the way that I still do it, is to make one step, one action, one more, even a thought, you know, like, okay, this is what's ahead of me. This is what I feel like I'm supposed to do right now. Okay, I'm going to do it. Just making that decision, you know, to start that process. And then let's get out of the bed, you know, then, you know, let's get into the bath. Let's, you know, one step at a time, and just taking it as it goes, you know. And I've had to learn, you know, my old process was you know, when I thought I was in superhuman mode, boom, 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 you know, and then it's become a process where I have to get those things rolling. And then sometimes I have to take a break, but then I have to keep continuing with that process, you know.
I've literally seen you at the gym I've seen you one time at the gym for about 15 minutes and you were like, I had enough. That's it. I've seen you, but you made it to the gym and you're like, okay, that's it for me.
Yeah. I call those, I call those my something's better than nothing day, you know, and at the very least, I see my friends, I got changed, you know, I went out, I'm out of the house, I'm there. And if nothing else, I've reinforced the habit of going, you know, even, you know, like I said, if I did 15 minutes and then those 15 minutes, that's 15 minutes more I would have had than if I would have been laying in bed or sitting in bed, you know. I mean, thank you for noticing that though. And that's been a challenge for me because the old thought was, well, if I can't do this, this, and this, I'm not going, you know. But then what happens is I keep not going and not going. And I think just like when you can start getting those little changes and you can start putting those positive actions together, they snowball. If you start going the other way, they snowball, you know. So I want to keep that snowball rolling in the right direction.
Very good point. And you absolutely have to be intentional about that, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, Beth and I always say, we catch each other when we say, oh, yeah, if we have time, we'll do this. If we have time, we'll do it. Well, we don't. But if we say, let's make time for this, then it happens, you know. We say, oh, yeah, we'll have to make, or, you know, oh, yeah, when we have time. Well, that usually doesn't happen, you know. But you're right, that intention to put forth, you know, and have that effort. I think that's really important.
Yeah. That's awesome. You're giving some really good, valuable tips because there are people, myself included, you know, I think everybody watching this, we have our moments of I don't want to go or I don't feel like getting up or whatever, and perfectly healthy, you know, not living with pain. And then to see somebody like you that, you know, you have to be extra intentional and you have to make that push to go. That's just, it's very inspirational.
But you said earlier before we went live, you said something that, you know, that struck a nerve with me. You said, I trained a guy that was paralyzed from his chest down. You said, well, most people, the worst case, they're paralyzed from the neck up.
Meaning the mind.
The mind, they're paralyzed up here thinking they can't do things. And like you said, do what you can. A good personal trainer, if you have a good trainer or a good support group, there's always something you can do in your whatever your activity is when you get out of the house. Absolutely. At least you got up and you did it and you made it. And you made it habit. I was hurting in December because I cut back my working out and I started hurting. I started having back pain. But thank God I've trained for so many years, it became habit for me to get up even through the pain to get back to the gym. My brain was starting to freeze up like, oh, my back, my sciatica is hurting. But it was like I was in self-drive. It was like, get up, go to the gym. And that got me through that hard week. And then my body got back normal again.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, I think, too, such a helpful tool is, you know, we used to say this in personal training all the time, too. What gets measured gets managed, you know. So I like to write things down and keep track of it or put it in my phone or do something because, like you said, those emotions in my head, it tells me one thing and my goals and my intentions tell me another thing, you know. So for me, it helps me. I like to write things down on pen and paper, just the black and white, you know, I can see it right there in front of me. But I do use my phone sometimes. But just to keep track of something and have that benchmark, and then that's something that then I can see because, you know, I love one of the best things that powerlifting ever taught me was how to train for a competition. You know, we call it a periodization program where you progressively you increase the weight and you decrease the repetition. So you start with a lightweight with high repetitions and you work down in powerlifting, you do a 1 rep max. Well, generally just walking around, you can't just go in and do a 1 rep max. You really have to train your body for it. But I like that goal setting process, and I use that even now in my workouts. You know, some type of progression or some type of way to how am I going to get from here to here? You know, and having that plan. I think it's such a great tool, and writing that stuff down is huge.
Very good tips. Yeah, those are in business. Those are KPIs, right, guys? Same thing in everything we do. Like you said, what gets measured, what gets managed gets measured. How did you say it?
What gets measured gets managed.
Gets managed, right? Yeah.
I'm most likely going to manage it because now I know. Now I will,
documentation. Yeah, that's good. I have a couple of questions where Barbara mentioned, she said, your description of how you start your day reminds me of the book called The 5-Second Rule, which talks about how you can change your life by the decisions you make and implement in 5 seconds instead of just thinking about doing it. You just, if you can say, okay, I'm going to do this in 5 seconds, you make that decision instead of, putting it off and pondering. And in fact, it's funny because Barbara's whole business has been built on the phrase clutter is postponed decisions.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's physical clutter. It's, piles of paper, but it's mental clutter. It's spiritual clutter. It's emotional clutter. It's digital clutter. Yeah. So, and that's true. Yeah. So I have a question. How have, one of the other things that we always say in Productive Environment Institute is together we are better. That we believe that 2 people, 3 people, a team of people is needed. That going through life alone and making these decisions and doing these things is very difficult alone. So how have you had other people? How have other people influenced and impacted your transformation?
Well, first and foremost, my wife and my family has been huge, and I'm so fortunate. And that we continue to work on and build those relationships so that they can be as strong as they can be and as healthy as they can be. But, as far as in the realm of like working out, it's been so important for me to get involved. And the thing that's kept me coming back, I started lifting weights when I was 12 years old. I'm 45 years old now. My dad took me to join my first gym at 16. And when I found that gym, I found my people, and I found them all over the country and everywhere that I've gone, and I've worked out at gyms. And they're there, I found you guys, and that's what keeps me coming back is that my friends are there. My wife and my son and I all go to the gym at the same time. He goes into kid care and plays with his friends. We go in the gym and play with our friends, and having that tribe, just like you guys do at DFIT. I love, seeing you guys and coming to the parties and just the camaraderie, that's the thing that's kept me coming back all these years and keeps me coming back,
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And it's interesting too. I'm thinking of a story, Demetrius, you told. You never really know, you've got your tribe of people, you've got people that are supporting you, and you never really know when somebody else is watching or somebody else impacts you. I was thinking about Dee when you were saying how hard it was for you to get back to the gym after a time of being away. And you like Gerrit, you got in the car, you drove yourself to the gym, you sat in the car and you're like, should I go in? Oh, I'll just go back home. And what happened?
I drove to the gym for like 3 days and sat in the car. And then Ronnie from the gym, one of my workout partners, saw me sitting in the car. He said, what are you going to do? You going to sit in the car all week? And he got me out of the car. And I drove to the gym for 3 days, sat in the car and drove home. And thank God he said something to me, and I saw everybody walk in, and he said something, and after that, it was like I was back. In 6 months, I was doing a competition after he said that. So sometimes it takes the smallest little thing to inspire somebody, and I always tell people, tell your story, say something. I compliment people at the gym that I don't know. Like I'll come up to a girl, and I'll be like, I'm not hitting on you. I'm not hitting on you. I said, but I've seen you. I said, I've seen you change in the gym. I've been watching you change for the past 6 months. I said, you figured out the food, didn't you? And they're like, yep. So I compliment, and it gives them that extra step. And when I tell them that, the next thing I know, they're on the stage competing or doing something extraordinary just by giving them that extra boost, because you need it when you're in that gym every day. And because a lot of people are like, why am I going to the gym? Why does my motive if they're not competing? You know what I mean? It's like, why am I here? The weight loss. Am I trying to get healthy? And then after a while, you go into the gym for 6 months and you're just starting. There becomes a big why. Why am I coming to the gym? I'm not losing any weight. And, a lot of women, they don't understand they're getting stronger. They have more energy, and it's not about a weight thing. That's something you have to figure out at home. You have to figure out your why. Why are you at the gym? and then you make it habit. Because there are going to come times where you're going to hurt. There's going to be a death in the family. A child is going off to school. A child is starting school. You have to figure out a why, and you have to make it habit.
Yep. And you never know who you'll inspire along the way.
Yep.
Go ahead, Gerrit. What were you going to say?
Oh, I've noticed some of the best gyms that I've been to have just what Dee described, what he does. And it's like, the best gyms I've been to, it doesn't matter if you're a world-class athlete. It doesn't matter if you're a professional bodybuilder. What matters is if you're trying, And then it's been my observation that those gyms have a lot of professional bodybuilders, world-class athletes, professional athletes. But you also find the people in there that, we at Quads Gym where I used to train with Eddie Cohn, we used to have 2 different guys that were handicapped and paralyzed, and they would bust everybody's chops just the same as we, you know what I mean, with world-class strongman. And they were in there working out. They were some of the hardest working guys. Looking at them, you wouldn't think that, oh yeah, that guy works out at Quads Gym, but he was there and he was one of the guys, they were one of the guys. And that I think is so important that we support each other, that's
Absolutely.
the name of the game,
Definitely. Well, as we're getting ready to wrap, we were gonna try to keep this to 30 minutes. So there's something else I just want to ask you about. So everybody's hearing that you've recovered from this horrible accident, and you have been through all this, and now you have a personal training business, and now you have a podcast, and you have a family. There's something else that you do too, isn't there? Aren't you an actor?
Oh yeah,
You're getting famous.
Doing some modeling and acting here in the Southeast, and it's been going really well. So, it's I can use some of those skills from my professional wrestling and acting skills, hopefully, but hopefully not get beat up. I can eliminate that part. I can perform, but not get beat up too much.
That's right. Is there anything?
I can act like I'm tough.
That's right.
Yep.
Is there anything we should be watching for you in? Is there anything coming out or that's out now?
I'm going up to Knoxville, Tennessee to do a show for ID Discovery. I'll let you guys know about that. And a couple local market TV commercials here in the Southeast. So I'll let you guys know.
Cool. Awesome. Keep us posted. And where can everybody find out more about you?
So you can find me on Facebook. My name is Gerrit Bult, Gerrit Bult. You can find me on Instagram. And our podcast, the Bult for Life podcast, it's like Built for Life, but Bult, Bult, instead of Built. Everybody's called me Mr. Built all my life because my last name looks like Built, but it's Bult, Bult. So Instagram, Facebook, you can find us anywhere that you find podcasts. And you can also find the episodes of the podcast on Bult for Life, BultForLife.com.
BultForLife.com. Awesome. I think Jeannie put that in the comments for us on Facebook as well. So great. And we will actually invite you into our Productive Environment Network. In fact, there's DFIT transformation community within our network.
Yeah.
So you can come in there. And then those of you that are listening, if you go to dfittransformation.com and then scroll down, you'll see Dee's story on there. Scroll down to the bottom of it, and there'll be a link for you to join our community, the DFIT community on the Productive Environment Network. So you'll get content all about, everything we talked about today, working together, as a teamwork, and, organizing your life for whatever that transformation is. So we've got some great other guests coming up. So Gerrit, you'll probably want to come on those as well and hear from other people. You can sit back and relax on those.
Yeah, I'm in. Thank you so much, guys. So
very cool. Barbara says thanks. Very inspiring. No excuses.
That's right. Thanks, I love it.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining in, and the replay will be out there as well. So anybody that wants to connect with Gerrit, he told you where to find him, and he'll also be in our network as well. So take care, everybody. Bye, Gerrit. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
See you at the gym.
That's right.